Where is like by Everlast. Welcome back. You can join us on our Facebook page, RTC, the English language program. I'm joined by Dr. Faiza Derbel and Sahbi Hidri to talk about TESOL Tunisia or Tunisia TESOL. Welcome to RTC.
Thank you, Adnen.
Welcome.
Welcome. So I'll just let you introduce yourselves to our listeners.
Thank you very much, Adnen, for this chance, and good to see you after some time. I'm here to talk about Tunisia TESOL. It was born, I guess, 10 or 11 days ago. We met in Manouba University, and we discussed the constitution of Tunisia TESOL. I'd like to introduce members of this Tunisia TESOL. We have Professor Mohamed Daoud, who is the president of Tunisia TESOL.
One of the greatest professors in North Africa.
Yes. We have Professor Tahar Labesi, who is the vice president, and we have a particular labeling for this. Normally he is the president-elect. And we have Hidri Sahbi, who is the executive director. We have other people, Professor Mohamed Jabir from ESLT, Professor Munir Triki, who normally represents his grad research unit from Sfaqis, Professor Pivat Slim from Manouba University, Professor Ivan Low from the University of Humanities Tunis, Dr. Faiza Derbel from Manouba University, Dr. Lamia Bishbaweb from Ibn Sharaf.
She's a friend and a colleague.
Yes, she's your colleague probably. And we have Rida Ben Maad Makki, who is an ALT inspector, Makki Latrish and Maher Zawnal, who is also an ALT inspector, and we have two other partners, normally the American Cultural Center and Amy Mabrouk, who represents normally Amidist.
I just want to say it in Arabic, Tabarkal.
Thank you very much, Adnan. Thank you. We have just started, so thank you very much.
So, what about the mission? Professor, yes, go ahead.
Okay, like any other professional organization, it is meant to serve the people who are in this profession. So when Tunisia TESOL stands for Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages. Now this is the label used to englobe all learners of English and the teachers of those learners of English. Now when we talk about Tunisia TESOL, we're talking about, in our perspective, all teachers of English active in the teaching of English in Tunisia, whether in primary education, teaching young learners, in basic education, in secondary education, in professional education also, and in ESP, for example, in the sciences, and in universities where we train the future teachers of English. The mission for TESOL, I would like Sahbi to tell us more about it, because he's executive director.
Well, the mission of Tunisia TESOL consists of the following. We are going to integrate all the ALT practitioners in the country, and normally we're going to bring them together for local events and for one big international event. And normally the invitation is open to all people. I mean, from primary education, secondary education, tertiary education, as well also the vocational training sector. And we would like all people to get involved in this project.
It's a project, you need money.
No. Well, maybe we'll talk about that later on, of course, like any other project.
That's the world in 2013. You need money to fund the project.
Yeah, sure. I agree with you. I agree with you. Well, it's not, Tunisia TESOL does not work in that sense. We have partners. We're going to have, let's say, to launch other partnerships with different parties from the public sector, from I mean, 2 or 3 members of the board of directors, and we're going to discuss this very soon. Normally we're going to hold our second meeting very soon, normally in the holidays, so it will be on the 23rd of March.
I want you to listen to a very nice song. I'm standing on the bridge, I'm waiting all the dark. I thought that you'd be here by now. There's nothing but the rain. No footsteps on the ground, I'm listening, but there's no sound. Stay with us. Well, Dr. Faiza Derbel, I want to ask you about the connectivity between all levels of education.
Well, we hope that we can manage to create this connectivity and to strengthen it in the future through Tunisia TESOL. Because traditionally what's been happening over the years in Tunisia is that you have primary education, they are working by themselves. You have basic education, they are working by themselves. Secondary education are working by themselves. University level, working up in the sky in other issues.
So you want to overcome divisions?
Yeah, and I think a successful system of education and training should be a connected one. In other words, we in higher education shouldn't be saying, well, we have bad students coming from secondary school, and vice versa. The people in secondary school or the inspectors, when they get new teachers, they say, oh, we're getting bad teachers because they come from tertiary level. So what we want to do through our association is create bridges and create collaboration. We want to work together. We should be all professionals teaching English and working together towards improving the situation of teachers and, by the same token, the learners.
Because at the end we have just one country.
Exactly.
One Tunisia.
It is possible to do. You can do it.
Dr.Sahbi, Hidri. Go ahead, please.
I think this is, I mean, what Tunisia TESOL is about. We have to find this link between all the different levels of education. And, I mean, this is the picture, is that we have these levels working separately. And with Tunisia TESOL probably we'll try to bring all people together, we'll try to diagnose different problems, work on them, and I hope we'll end up by finding many solutions to the problem, to the different problems we have. People have to be very patient with this project. I'd like people to give us a chance. We have to work very hard, and I'm sure we'll make it.
You've mentioned Sfax. What about the regions?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about secondary education or primary, etc., you know how the ministry works. It's got districts. And it's got people responsible for these districts. So what we want to do, really, I hope we will be able to do in the future, is to build this community of professionals and learners, and have joint events and talk to each other about what we want to do for them at the local level, regional level. For example, I myself, you know, even now without Tunisia TESOL, I have been to Dous or Suqlahad to talk to teachers of English, and I have been to Monastir, and my colleague Sahbi has been also to Sousse. But those have been individual initiatives. You know someone, someone calls you and says, would you like to come to my training?
Like in the Godfather movie.
Exactly.
You know someone who knows someone else.
We really want
Same system.
Yeah, we would like to have, you know, to sit all together and formulate an action plan for our colleagues and with our colleagues in other areas.
Sahbi, Hidri, what about the collaboration with the ministry?
That's a very hard question. I did not expect this question. But anyway, I think after the revolution, we have this will of many parties who are normally willing to be open to such projects. You know, you will not have, let's say, 100% of people who agree with you. But I think when people discover that this project is working for the benefits of the country, I guess they will support us and they will help us, I mean, work and develop the educational system.
Does this mean that some people did not support the idea?
No, so far, no. All people, I mean, who got the idea of Tunisia TESOL, I mean, have been very supportive, and I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank all the people who joined Facebook page, students, primary school. Pardon?
You can mention the Facebook page.
I don't have. It's long Facebook.
You know what? I will share it. I will share it on my own Facebook page, RTC, the English language program. Don't worry. You will need a website as well.
Yeah. Well, we're working on the website, and I'd like to thank Professor Ivanlow for this. He has developed it, the website, and he's still working on that. Probably we're going to launch the website by Wednesday, Thursday.
Really?
Yes, and probably. We have a domain name now, so you can, by Wednesday, Thursday, probably people can log into this website and they can send questions, comments, and we're just speeding up things. We're moving ahead, we're making good progress, and we're happy about that.
Without budget.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I would like to add that the point is really to shift the focus from, you know, the ministry or, you know, those, you know, when you say the ministry, what does the ministry think, or what does Greyfolk think, or what is important is what the people involved want to do.
Forget about the ministry, let's work together.
No, not forget, but also because the ministry is going to work with its representatives. In other words, we have a growing number of new inspectors, young inspectors. They are more educated, they want to change things, they want to incorporate new ideas, and we would like to work with them. And I have quite a good idea about the kinds of things they want to do, personally, because of my research into the area of teacher education. So I think...
Dr. Faiza Derbel, what is the role of Tunisia TESOL in professional development?
Well, the concept of professional development, you know, I don't want to sound boring and give a whole lecture about it, but basically I want to simplify it. If we are thinking of all
the teachers,
all the professionals in the field we're talking about in Tunisia, you know, from primary to tertiary level, we know that the interest in professional development is different because it is linked to promotion and professional promotion as well. So we know that if you are a primary school teacher, if you are a secondary basic education secondary school teacher, you want to improve your practice, you want to feel that you are progressing, so you want to learn more, so you want to go to workshops to acquire more certification perhaps, to improve your status as well, and to do your job properly and to be comfortable in your job and autonomous. For university teachers, who are especially the ones who are into applied linguistics, their promotion is dependent on publications and on conferences. So it kind of we need to work together. This is what my vision for Tunisia TESOL, and of course it will be for the board of directors to debate about.
Do you think it's the same?
Is to bring these two together.
Do you think you have the same vision?
Not necessarily. So. I don't expect, you know, I don't want to expect that, but there are common ground. What I want to say is that with the inspectors with us, and I already had informal discussions with our friends who came with us, who are in the board of directors, that we can have some kind of research that we can do together jointly, some joint events. So for example, in primary school, or we know that people are trying new ideas. Research can work on these things, and we can develop some kind of knowledge base, so that in the future when we move and we think about reforming or changing, we start from research data, we start from a knowledge base that is empirical, instead of saying, okay, nothing works, let's start all over again.
I agree with you, Faiza. This is extremely important. Adnen, if we take...
I thought you were going to say we have different vision.
No, we have a good number of primary school teachers who are English secondary school teachers. I'll actually show you an example of cooperation. And this cooperation is most often, I mean, is done on a personal initiative. For example, in my case, I teach, micro-teaching to my third-year students. And sometimes I invite ELT inspectors to do, to have lesson, to teach, students in class. And this is extremely important. We don't have the initiative of the minister at this level. This initiative is done on a personal basis.
Do you think it's enough?
It's not enough, of course. It's not enough because, you know...
We're used to the support of the ministry. So it's a kind of challenging project without the support of the ministry.
Frankly speaking, we're expecting more from the Ministry, of Higher Education or the Ministry of Education. We would like people to get involved to...
The vocational training ministry.
Yes, of course. Vocational training is extremely important to the country. And you see, you have the feeling that the vocational training belongs to another country. It does not exist in Tunisia.
We need more technicians than teachers.
Yeah, of course.
This is the market. This is the reality of the market.
That's what the country needs. At the university level, for instance, we have a good number of researchers, and you yourself, Adnen, is a researcher, and you know.
I'm trying.
The story, you know the story of when you embark on that stony ground and you look for supervisors.
Mission impossible.
Yes, it's very difficult. We have a good number of MA students, and I think Tunisia TESOL is going to give them a chance to excel, to present their work, and we encourage them, once they are done on their MA thesis, we encourage them to move on, find a PhD topic, and keep going. And all these things normally will be done for the country. It's not, it's not for
it's not for the association of all
yes,
members.
Of course. At the secondary level, for example, we have pre-service teachers and in-service teachers, and all these teachers normally need some collaboration with some university teachers. We have an agenda. Normally we're going to meet on the 23rd of March. We have some ideas, good ideas, I guess, and I'm sure many people will like them, and I hope they will be involved.
Right.
What I want to say is that, you know, what we have to do to bring the Ministry of Education on board, or the Ministry of Vocational Training on board, is to knock on doors. You know, now that we have a board of directors and we can go on a mission one day to, like we came today to RTCI, we can go to vocational training, ask for an appointment, and say, well, here we are an association, those are our goals, we want to do this and we want to do that. I also want to add one thing about, you reminded me of the MA students who work on ELT related subjects, and usually they do that on very personal level. So to access schools, they have to talk to their ex-teacher or their cousin in such and such school.
It's a real problem.
So we want to, this is the connectivity I want to talk, you know, I'm talking about. That means there will be channels of communication between us, through TESOL, with TESOL, through the members
without
of the
TESOL.
and not without TESOL. Maybe there are other bodies, maybe there are other people who can help with that. But it's very important for Tunisian education, for the teaching of English. We need to formulate our own theories of teaching, our theories of what works for us, what doesn't work for us, and we need to formulate our needs ourselves. And that I think is very important.
For the MA students, sometimes when they embark on, let's say, collecting data at the secondary level, normally they are supposed to write a request to the Ministry of Education to be granted access to schools. But I mean, this process takes 6 months and sometimes more than a year. And all these people, I mean, just waste time. Yes. I think we will work on these problems. We have, I mean, a long list of problems. We're going to address these problems, and I hope
you'll need a budget.
Oh, absolutely.
Still talking about budget. So let's listen to a very nice track. We'll be back in about 3 minutes to talk about higher education problems and challenges. Stay tuned. This Love by Maroon 5. Welcome back. You're listening to the English language program on RTC. Let's move to higher education problems and challenges. Dr.Sahbi, Hidri, what about assessment?
Thank you, Adnen. First of all, before talking about assessment, I'd like to talk about, I mean, to refer to one idea, which is the LMD system. We've heard that many people have been trying to reconsider the system, and I hope that now they will be given the chance.
Do you think it's... some
people
believe it's too late.
I think, I mean, if we can't make it after the revolution, I guess, I mean, and reform...
We'll never make it.
Yeah, we'll never make it. Concerning assessment, you know, and then normally when kids go to school, secondary, primary, university level, I always think of parents. And it's like, I mean, it's alarming at home. And when you have the baccalaureate exam results, I'm going to talk about English, no one is happy about that. And I have alarming figures, and I can't talk about these figures.
And you're suffering.
For example,
with first-year students.
Yes, for the bac students last year, for example, in English, it's really alarming. What we need at this level is that we have to reconsider assessment, and if we're going to reconsider assessment, we're going to reconsider teaching as well. We don't have this idea that, I mean, people work together to design, let's say, a test that normally reflects the course objectives and, you know, things, how things go at university. Assessment is a neglected area in the country, and there has never been any initiative. I mean, on that. And I think with Tunisia TESOL, and one of the points, one of the major topics we'll be dealing with in Tunisia TESOL is assessment. It's not the only one, of course, but one of the major topics we will deal with is assessment. And normally we're going to give a chance to train, to have events, workshops for different levels, primary, secondary, tertiary, vocational training levels. We have, I mean, excellent researchers. We have excellent people who are into assessment and testing. And I hope they have this knowledge, and it's a pity that they have this expertise and this knowledge. And I mean, they are not given any chance to do that. I hope that all people will be involved in this project, and we will welcome all ideas, and we're expecting people to send their ideas. And normally the board of directors is going to meet very soon, and they will talk about this. We're not going to exclude anyone. Tunisia TESOL is open to all people, and even including you, and you're welcome at any time.
Well, I just want to say that since we are an affiliate of TESOL International, TESOL International usually works, and many other professional organizations work through special interest groups. And I think there is a window of opportunity there. That means we can have special interest group in assessment, special interest group in, for example, continuous training to serve the needs of secondary school teachers. We can have also teaching of the skills. This is another ballgame. Now, there are so many areas we can work on, but again, through the creation of special interest groups, I think that's a way of also structuring the work and dividing the tasks so that people can, in a big event like I hope there will be, a first international Tunisia TESOL conference, where all these groups will be presenting what they have been doing, their projects, talking about their projects.
Yeah, actually we're going to hold one big international event.
This year?
Of course, well, after we meet, of course, on the 23rd of March, and we will have something like 4, 6, 7 local events. It depends on the agenda, and it depends as well on funds. So
and there's something that we didn't mention, and I should have a while ago when I talked about all the connecting the different areas of the teaching of English.
But solving the problem of the divisions.
I want to mention that also there is an emerging private sector in Tunisia, private universities teaching through the medium of English, other universities who are really interested in promoting the teaching of English in their institutions and are willing to do what it takes. And I think we will be interested in partnering with those private universities. So if they are listening to us and they like what we've been hearing, they kind of relate to our vision of
private universities, associations, banks.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
And if there is a rich businessman somewhere listening to us with a lot of money bags, we would be taking. Of course, yes.
I'm sure that private universities, I mean, can contribute to this project. They hire teachers.
Are you talking about MSB?
No, not one in particular. We have many private universities here, so we don't have a particular university in mind, but we know that they hire people, and these people, we know very well that these people need some training in the English language, whether in teaching or assessment. Tunisia TESOL is open for them, and I attended some TESOL conferences at Adnen, and for example, the Nile TESOL conference, I went there. It was very interesting. I mean, you have many people coming from the private sector, and they sponsor all these events. Of course, in return, they bring their teachers. They benefit from continuous training for these teachers to improve the quality of teaching and assessment, and that's the major mission of Tunisia TESOL, I guess.
Some observers claim that the very fact of having private universities is the proof that we have a problem in Tunisia. Is this a right assessment?
Maybe, but what I would say is that since these private universities are filling up their classes, that means there is a need felt from parents, these individual students, the society as a whole. And I think they are serving a sector of the population, not necessarily, you know, there is this vision that, you know, if you go to private university, the parents want to buy your diploma or something. No, I disagree with that, because I am at the moment teaching in one private university I wouldn't name, but I don't think that, you know, I know that parents would prefer to keep their kids in Tunisia, and this is important. If they can send them to a private university in Tunisia, why do you want parents to go through the hoops and loops to send them to France or to Britain while they can get the same thing in Tunisia?
Do you believe they can get the same thing in Tunisia?
I think so.
I think they are getting quite. I observed the institution where I'm working, and I see they have the very important support system. They are keen on bringing the best teachers we have in Tunisia, and they go home and are integrated in their own families, in their own context, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think we have this Tunisian expertise, you know, and we have a good number of people who travel just to, to present their work abroad. And I know many friends who work in Kuwait, in the States, in Canada, and these people are doing very well. So here in the local context we have this expertise, and my understanding is that it's important to use these people, to ask them to share this knowledge with all these different sectors, and it's a question of sharing. And you know that these people are just doing this job for free. We're not paid for that, but for the love of the country, we're ready to do it, and we're ready to ask all people to get involved, and we share the ideas we have with them. We're not selfish anyway.
I need your final message.
No, I just, a while ago I used the two prepositions. I said, this is an association for professionals, and we are willing to work with those professionals. We're not going to say, hey, this is the professional training for you, we prepared it, take it. So I hope there will be participation, collaboration, respectful relations with our partners.
Thank you for your optimism. Dr. Sahbi.
Thank you, Adnen. My final message is I would like to thank the people who have been trying to launch Tunisia TESOL.
Great Tunisian teachers.
Yeah, I know. My students, and different people. When first they discovered the Facebook page, they just started sending requests to get the application form. I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank you as well, and I hope let's start working very hard on this project.
You'll probably come back next year with $1 million budget.
No, very soon to launch the first important community building event.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Let's end with this.
I hope we'll be back next year here, and we'll give you an annual report, and I'm sure you will be surprised.
Okay, I thank Abdul Qadir for his valuable technical assistance, Dr. Sahbi, Hidri, Dr. Faiza, Derbel for introducing Tunisia TESOL. Video of this edition will be available on my Facebook page. RTCI, the English language program, coming next, news update in French, and the German language program with Ulfa Khmiri. Until we meet again, I'm your host Adnen Chaouachi. Stay tuned to RTCI, and I'll be here on Tuesday with a special guest from 2 to 3. Stay tuned to RTCI. Bye. Sahi.